Hey guys, Ray from loveyourrv.com. Well, I'm once again upgrading my RV's thermostat from an analog type to a digital type. Why am I doing it again? Well, I had one of these Honeywells in there and it actually failed on me. It suddenly kept heating and it wouldn't shut off its heat cycle. So something inside it went wacky, and then the furnace wouldn't shut off. So I was in a town where I couldn't get this exact replacement, and of course I wanted my thermostat to work. So I went and got the original Coleman Mach that was in here originally and put it back in. So now I'm back to put in a new Honeywell. I thought I'd give this another try because we really liked the way it operated, and I'm hoping I just got a dud. I did see on Amazon one other guy had that complaint as well, so maybe they just had a bad batch or something. Anyway, I'm going to upgrade to digital, and I thought I'd take this chance in this video to kind of give people more information because it's one of the most asked questions I get is about the thermostat upgrade. Why do you want to go to a digital? A lot of people with the new RVs have the digital, so this video is not for you. This is more for guys who have these old analog slider type. First of all, the slider is kind of not that accurate to try to find the place, you know, whereas a digital you can dial in exactly the temperature you want. Also, it has what they call a temperature persistence of -2 +2, so that means when it hits it, say you're heating it and it hits say 76 degrees, it won't come back on till you're like at 72, so there's quite a wide range, and so it doesn't, basically boils down to it doesn't give very consistent heat, where you can, these are have a 1 degree persistence either way, so it keeps a much more even heat. Also, this Honeywell, this particular one, I'll show you in a minute the model, but it will switch automatically from heating to cooling. So on these you have to go and physically switch from heat and over to cool. So a lot of times near the fall where we are, we'll want the heat at night, but during the day it'll heat up and we'll want the AC, so we'll be switching back and forth. With the new digital one, it'll automatically do that. So let's go have a closer look at this digital model. So the model I have here is a RTH5100B non-programmable digital thermostat. And the reason I wanted to get this model is it runs on these two AAA batteries. So it can do all its functioning off those batteries. Basically a thermostat is just a switch. So say I wanna turn some heat on here. Move this up here. You can hear that little click. So all it's doing is switching a relay inside. And when I turn it down, you hear the little click. So the digital portion is just running little relays inside there. A lot of thermostats you buy, they also need to run off of power provided by the furnace. Usually 24 volts is a common voltage for the homes. We don't have that in the RVs. So these little batteries will provide the power to switch the tiny little relays in here. A lot of people get confused that they think that the 12 volts inside the RV is actually going to be doing the job. But on this, it's those little batteries that are doing the switching job in there. So you don't really need the 12 volts. The 12 volts is needed. It gets switched to from a 12 volt source on one of these pins, it gets switched to either your furnace or your AC unit to switch it on and off, but it's actually not powering the thermostat itself, it's just these batteries. So that's why I picked one with that's powered by the batteries, and there's only a few models in the Honeywell line. Before I did have my first upgrade that I did, I used a Hunter brand, but they became out of stock everywhere, and they also didn't have the automatic switchover, which was a cool feature of these. Let me just pop this apart and I can show you the little relays that are being clicked inside. There we go, I just pulled the circuit board out. It's a good time to say I don't advise you to start pulling things apart like I'm doing. Also, messing around with your thermostat in your RV and doing this mod could void a warranty with your RV. And also, if you don't know what you're doing, you could cause damage to your air conditioning or your furnace, or something in your RV wiring. You could blow fuses and all kinds of stuff. So I'm just warning you up front. This video is just sort of kind of an entertainment, educational look at things, me trying to explain stuff. So do your own research and take your own risks. So you can see in here, there's 3 different relays, and I'm guessing, but a kind of educated guess, that one is a relay for the heat, one is a relay for the AC, and one is a relay to control the fan. So this just has a single fan speed control relay on it, but I can wire a toggle switch in to get the high-low fan speed that I have on my Coleman Mach, the original. So there's a lot going on in there, actually. Okay, another thing that people run into a lot, I get emailed, is, so when I posted videos, it was for my system, which has a Coleman Mach air conditioner and a Suburban furnace. And so the way it's wiring is it has a 12 volt and supply, and then when it switches, it's switching that 12 volts onto either the furnace, the AC, and the fans. I've seen a lot of people post that it's not working for them, and drilling down and doing a little research, I see there's a Dual Therm, which is the other big company that puts air conditioners on RVs, and they have sort of a different wiring. So you can do a search on the internet, do a search for like Honeywell thermostat and Dual Therm RV, and you'll come up with some wiring diagrams. They do it a bit different. Instead of using the 12 volts for the R pins here, they use a ground, and then they tape off. There's a 7.5 volt supply that they just tape off when guys do the upgrade mod to that. So it's a little different on the Dual Therm. So this is working for upgrading that Coleman Mach. So you'll have to do your own research if you have a Dual Therm, because I don't have one here to experiment with. So here's a quick test to demonstrate how the batteries are switching the small relays, and they're simply switching continuity between things. So I just put this red lead here. It's on the positive that would get 12 volts applied to it when I put the red wire in my RV wiring there. And we'll just put the green wire on the fan pin here. And I have a meter across it, so when we hit fan on, you can see we get continuity across, and that's what turns the fan on in the AC unit. And we turn it off. So it's pretty simple, just switches that are doing it. So let's take a look at the Coleman Mach wiring here. And you can see I've put clip leads on the red wire and the blue wire. Now the red is positive 12 volt, our battery voltage in the RV, and the blue wire is negative or ground. So you can see right now I have about 13 volts. That's what my batteries are sitting at. And the reason we need that for this is it doesn't have a battery that's powering anything. So it actually uses the RV 12 volt system to power its little circuit board in there. So when we put the Honeywell digital, we're not going to need that blue wire because it's battery operated, so it doesn't need that 12 volt supply to power its board. But it does need that 12 volt to switch on the furnace and the AC and the fan. You can see we got yellow here for the AC, and then we have white for the furnace, and we have green and gray for it. On this it has high and low speed fan speeds. The Honeywell only can handle one fan speed, but we can do a little wiring with a switch, a little micro switch, so that I can still get my dual speed again. I'll show you that when I take it apart. So let's just pull this off the wall. Okay, so I've pulled out all of the Keystone's wiring here, and let's see if I can explain it to you. You can see here where the red is, that's the 12 volt positive battery power, and it's coming off of this purple and purple with white stripe. I guess that's what they designate in this case as their positive. That's the thing with RV wiring. It can vary all over between rigs and models and brands. So I have a tough time when people contact me and asking a question about the wiring, because I can be totally wrong. This is just the way mine is wired. But generally you're going to find a 12 volt somewhere. And then you can see over here this blue wire, which is the negative wire. It's coming off these pair of white wires here. So those thick heavy wires are the 12 volt circuits in the RV, and then they've just added the small colored wires when they wired in the thermostat. Over here, this thin wire here, this white wire, and they're just using a looks like a dual wire. It's got a red and a white, but they're just using the white wire to go to the Suburban furnace. Mine's a model SF30, so that's the trigger wire for the thermos. And then there's one more here, and that's this one with a bunch of different wires. See, some are clipped off, and that's coming from my Coleman Mach 3 AC unit. So it has a yellow wire right here. That's its trigger wire to turn the compressor on and off, but it also has a gray wire and a green wire that have been hooked onto, let's see what colors there. Actually, the gray came off of a black wire and they turned it gray, I guess to match the Dometic color coding. So that'll be your high and low fan speeds. And then of course the white is the compressor, so you got 3 wires coming from the AC unit. Now basically, remember I said that the thermostat is just acting as a switch, so I actually can turn stuff on and off here. To prove that, here's my positive wire, so I'll go to one of the, there's AC fan, that sounds like low, there's high, green is high. Say I want to turn the furnace on, we'll just go over here and touch the furnace. There's a white wire to 12 volt red, turn the furnace on. So you can see how simple it is. It's just a switch turning things on and off. And the furnace is still running. The furnace has a feature in it where it will run for a minute after the power is disengaged, and that's just to clear any possible LP gas that can be left over in the burner area. Also the AC system, when you turn, it has a special feature where if you turn the compressor off and then try to turn it back on, it waits a minute. That's built into the thermostat itself, and that feature is also in the new digital one. So now that I've explained the wiring, we can start wiring that new Honeywell in there, and I'll show you how I'm going to maintain my 2 different fan speeds. Like I say, the Honeywell only has 1 pin for fan, but I'm going to install a little switch. Just let me grab that. This is a little micro switch I got. I'll link to it, the type I use, but basically it's an on-on switch. So it's a little toggle switch that switches between the 2 pins and is always on, depending which pin you've switched it to. So I'm going to put the green wire on one side and the gray wire on the other. So that'll be the high speed and the low speed. And then I'll pull out another wire and wire that into the thermostat, so that way I can switch which wire I want as high and low fan speed. If you don't care, you could just pick one. You could say I'm always going to have high speed or I'm always going to have low speed, but I kind of like to maintain the functionality of high and low fans. So we'll wire that in. So everything's simplified now. I put my switch in there. I drilled a little hole underneath, so it's going to be below the thermostat. I don't switch it very often. I usually keep it at low speed, but it's nice to sometimes be able to crank it up to high. And what I used was a green wire coming out of the center of that switch. So that's my fan. Yellow is my AC. White is my furnace. And red is my 12 volt power. And so now I can just match it up with what's on here. There's an RCR, and there's a little jumper in there, so I leave that in there. And then there's Y for yellow, W for white, and G will be for green. So I'll just screw that on and screw the wires into little screw terminals here. Oh, I forgot about the blue wire. The blue wire is the negative 12 volts or ground, so I've just taped it off because I won't be needing it for the new thermostat, but just in case I want to put the old one back again, I have it there. One thing to keep in mind is this doesn't come in the box from the factory with the auto mode set on, so I'll just show you how to do that. Just hold this button here and that for 5 seconds and you'll get into the settings mode. So you can see number 1, leave it in 0, heating and cooling. Next, number 3, gas or oil heat. Yeah, we have gas heat. Number 5, gas or oil furnace. Yeah, leave that. This is the 112. 0 is manual changeover for heating and cooling. 1 is automatic changeover. So I put it into 1. Then you can set Fahrenheit or Celsius. 0 for Fahrenheit, 1 for Celsius. And then in number 27 you can select the maximum heating. So I really don't want it to go above 76. And you can set your maximum cooling. I'll probably bump that up later. I'll leave it at 65 right now just so I can demo it for you, because it's not that warm out right now. There we go, done. And this should just snap into place now. There we go. So the batteries just are changed over here. You just push down on a little thing and the compartment opens up and you can change the batteries. I found my batteries lasted a long time, a lot longer than I thought. I think you get like anywhere 8 months to a year out of a set of batteries. So let's just test the cooling now. Bump that up over 70. There's the furnace came on. Let's turn the furnace off. You should hear a click. Yep. Now let's test the fan. So that's the manual mode on. And we'll just test our high-low. Yep. Low. High. I know some people would rather have the switch go up and down, but I can deal with it. Okay, let's test, turn that off, and we'll test the cooling. Go to cool here, and we'll bring her down under 74 there. It's cooling on. So it's going to do its little minute before it starts again, probably because I had that fan on. Let's hang on a sec. There we go. So the AC is running. Turn her off. So now I can choose to have it just in heat mode, or I can have it completely off, or I can have it just in cool mode, or I can have it in auto mode, and that's where the furnace will come on when it gets below 64 degrees. Let's check the cooling here, and once it gets above 76 degrees, the AC will fire. So it looks like we're back in business with our digital unit. Nice. So yeah, I just thought I'd do this video. I've done a few videos on the installs before, but I thought I'd do a little more in-depth for people, so when they email me or ask in comments, I can send them to this video with a little more detail on how things are functioning and why things are hooked up. And like I say, this is for my specific rig. If If you have a dual therm, definitely your wiring is going to be a little different, but I have seen a lot of guys are getting this to work with the dual therm, no problem. There's lots of wiring diagrams on the internet. And then there's also different AC units and furnaces. You know, some of the modern AC units also have heat pumps in there, so you could open this up and have a big mess of wiring. So don't email me if that's the case, because I won't know. But I thought for guys who are just straightforward replacing the old school slider type units up to a digital unit, this video may be helpful. So there you go. Until next time, it's Ray from loveyourrv.com. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers.